The scream ripped across the Kansas plains before the sun even finished climbing over the horizon. Horses jerked, birds scattered from the dry grass. Even the wind seemed to stumble. It was the kind of scream that told you someone was in trouble and that someone had never known real danger until this exact second. Lily Hart burst out from the dusty stagecoach stop with her skirt bunched in her fists. Her face was pale. Her breath was sharp. She looked nothing like a visitor from the gentle towns of the East. She looked like prey. Two riders were chasing her across the open field. Their horses kicked dust high into the morning air. Their hands clutched rifles. Their eyes burned with the satisfaction of a hunt. The girl had seen something she was never meant to see, and now they were going to correct that mistake. She stumbled toward the only soul within 100 yards, a broad-shouldered cowboy tightening the cinch on his saddle. He turned only when she collided with him. She wheezed one sentence that felt like the last words she would ever speak. "They are coming." Ethan Cole did not ask who. He heard the hoofbeats. He knew the rhythm of pursuit. He grabbed Lily by the waist and tossed her onto his horse before she even knew what was happening. She shrieked so loud the horse flinched beneath her. "I have never been on a horse." The sentence cracked in the air like thunder. Ethan swung up behind her with one powerful motion. His arms locked around her to keep her from falling. His voice was low and steady. "Then you better hold on tight." The horse shot forward across the open land. Wind slapped Lily in the face. Her stomach lifted. Her legs kicked at nothing. She felt the ground vanish under her, and for a moment she was sure she was dying. But Ethan kept her upright, and the world blurred into streaks of gold and heat. The gunshots started behind them, dry, sharp cracks that echoed across the empty prairie. Lily screamed again. Ethan leaned closer and spoke into her ear. "Do not look back. Look ahead. Only ahead." His chest pressed against her back. His breath grazed her neck. His hands tightened on the reins as the horse dodged a patch of dry brush. Lily felt her own fear twisting into something unfamiliar, something that made her trust the stranger holding her life in his calloused hands. But even as they fled across the plains, she felt a question burning deep in her chest. A question that would decide both of their futures. If this man can save me today, then who will save him when danger comes for him next? Lily thought the horse could not run any faster, but Ethan whispered something into its ear, and the animal shot forward again. Her stomach dropped so hard she grabbed his arm without thinking. He did not push her off. He tightened his grip around her like he had decided her life mattered just as much as his. The wind kept slapping her face. Her eyes watered. Her heart pounded so loud she could hear nothing else until Ethan leaned in close to talk over the chaos. "Easy now. Breathe. Lean with the horse. Do not fight it." His voice was steady and warm, like someone teaching a scared child to swim. She tried to follow his words. Her body rocked with the horse, and for the first time since she had screamed in terror, she felt the tiniest bit of control. Behind them the hoofbeats grew faint. The gunshots stopped. The morning sun rolled across the plains and turned everything gold. For the briefest moment it almost looked peaceful, like the land itself was pretending nothing was wrong. Lily noticed it for only a second before another jolt tossed her backward against Ethan's chest. He laughed softly, a rough, tired laugh that told her this man had seen trouble long before today. "You are doing just fine, for someone who thought horses were wild monsters 5 minutes ago." She wanted to answer, but the horse suddenly veered to avoid a dry washout. Lily yelped and clutched the saddle horn. Ethan steadied her again, and she felt the strength in his hands. Not harsh strength, not controlling strength, just steady. Safe. They raced past a broken fence and a half-fallen windmill. Ethan pointed toward an old building ahead, a lonely shack with a faded sign hanging crooked above the door. That is the old postal station. "No one uses it anymore. We will hide there until your legs stop shaking." Lily wanted to deny that her legs were shaking, but the lie would not come. She could barely breathe. She could barely think. Yet somehow she felt safer than she had felt in years. She felt something else, too, something warm blooming in her chest that made absolutely no sense in a moment like this. Ethan slowed the horse and swung down first. He turned to lift her off. For a second their faces were close enough that she could see the sun caught in his eyes. close enough that her heart skipped for reasons unrelated to danger. Inside the dusty station, they caught their breath. Ethan checked the door and windows. Lily pressed her hand to her chest, trying to calm the wild thumping inside. She was alive. Ethan had kept her alive, but the question she wanted to ask most sat heavy on her tongue. What happens when the men chasing us finally catch up? Ethan did not answer Lily right away. He walked to the window of the old postal station and brushed a layer of dust from the glass. The plains outside looked calm, too calm, the kind of calm that makes your stomach twist even when nothing is happening yet. Lily stepped beside him. Her voice was soft. "Do you think they lost us?" Ethan let out a slow breath. Men like that do not give up, not when they think they can get something out of it. And Caleb Boone always wants something. The name hit Lily like a cold wave. She remembered the ledger she'd seen back at the stagecoach stop. The scribbled numbers, the land deeds, and the signature that proved Caleb had been stealing property from ranchers across Dodge City for years. She never meant to see it. She simply walked in at the wrong time, but now she knew too much. Ethan checked his revolver, then tucked it back into his belt. He looked tired, not the tired that comes from running through the plains, the tired that settles into a man who has been fighting a losing battle for too long. Caleb tried to buy my land last spring. When I said no, he said I would regret it. Looks like he meant it. Lily wondered for a heartbeat if coming west had been the worst mistake of her life. Before Lily could respond, the faint sound of hoofbeats drifted across the hot air, slow at first, then louder, then too close to pretend they were nothing. Ethan froze for half a second. Then he stepped away from the window, nudged Lily behind the counter, and whispered, "Do not move. Do not make a sound." The hoofbeats stopped right outside the building. Lily could hear at least 3 horses now, as if they had picked up another man on the way. Voices followed, hard voices, confident voices, the kind that belonged to men who believed the world owed them something. Lily held her breath as footsteps approached the door. A hand rattled the latch. The door creaked open just an inch before someone outside said, "Leave it. The wagon will carry her. Take him alive. Caleb wants to finish this himself." Lily felt her heart collapse into her chest. They were not here to scare them. They were here to take Ethan. She looked at him in the dim light. His jaw was set. His hand rested on the counter. He was ready to fight, even if the odds were bad. The voices faded for just a moment, but that moment was enough to make one thing clear. The real danger was only beginning, and Lily knew everything was about to fall apart in a way neither of them could control. If you're still with me, take a breath, sip your tea, and settle in for the rest of this wild story. And before we move on, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy these Western tales. It helps more than you know. If you were the man who owned the guns and the land, would you silence a witness like Lily or gamble that she stays quiet? Press to silence, 2 to gamble. Lily could feel her pulse pounding in her ears as the men outside argued about who would take Ethan. Their boots crunched over the dry dirt. One set of steps moved closer to the door again, and she pressed herself deeper behind the counter. Ethan slid beside her. His voice was barely a breath. "When they grab me, you run. You hear me." She shook her head fast. Her eyes were wide. She was not leaving him. Not after everything he had done to keep her alive. But she did not get a chance to argue. The door slammed open, and 3 men stormed inside. Ethan sprang to his feet. He swung once. A punch cracked against a jaw. But there were too many of them. They pinned him down. One of the men yanked the revolver from the holster at his hip and shoved it into his own waistband. "This one is safer with me," tied his wrists, and dragged him across the floor. Lily tried to stand. One of the men grabbed her by the arm. "Caleb wants her alive. Put her on the wagon." She bit down hard on her fear. She needed to stay clear-minded. She needed to think. They hauled her outside and tied her hands again, sitting her in the back of the wagon like a sack of grain. Dust puffed up behind the wheels as the horses pulled forward. Ethan was forced to walk behind them with a rope around his arms. Every time he stumbled, something inside her chest jerked as if the rope were wrapped around her heart, too. Every few steps he stumbled. The heat was unforgiving. Lily searched for anything she could use. Her mind raced back to the moments earlier on Ethan's horse. his voice telling her how to grip, how to pull the reins, how to stay on even when everything seemed impossible. The wagon rolled toward the low riverbank not far from the old postal station, a place the horses knew well, a stop for water. If she did not act here and now, there might never be another chance. The perfect moment. The man who tied her had done it in a hurry, muttering that they would fix it properly once they reached the camp. She felt the ropes cutting her skin, but she twisted them slowly. One loop slipped, then another. Her wrists finally pulled free. A guard walked toward her, holding a canteen. The moment he turned his head, Lily lunged. She shoved him hard, and he tumbled backward into the dust. She grabbed